Yo, what is up YouTube, it's your boy Tono here, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I will show you how to install and set everything for the RPCS3 emulator to be able to play PS3 games on your MacBook Pro, either with Intel or ARM processor, so the M series of processor dedicated of Apple, Pro or base version of processors, MacBooks, so you can now enjoy it even if you have the newer MacBooks and not only the Intel ones. So first thing first, guys, pick your favorite browser web and then type RPCS3 in your search bar and then press enter and then click on the first website that appears. You will be seeing something like this. Go on download and then scroll down until you see macOS experimental, and then you choose either the X64 if you have Intel processors MacBooks or ARM64 if you have the M series processors in your MacBook Pro. In this case, I have a MacBook Pro with M3 Pro, so I will go for the ARM64 build. You just click once and then the download starts. Feel free to place it wherever you want. To be fair, the download file can be placed wherever, but I would highly recommend to maybe create a desktop folder called in the same way of the emulator, and then you can just click save, and as you can see, the download will start and you will be having it very shortly. Click here to see it inside the folder. As you can see, I downloaded it already, but just for the sake of the video, I will do it again. Double click on the file. It will start the extraction of the file, and once it's done, you will have this folder. This is the folder and this is the icon of the emulator. And as you can see, guys, it gives you this pop-up because it has been recognized as unusual software. So the other thing you have to do is to go on settings. Here, click OK, and then you scroll down until you see privacy and security, and you scroll down until there is the voice saying RPCS3 was blocked from use because it's not from an identified developer. You click on open anyway, use the password or the fingerprint, and then you click on open again. And once it is open, it will be looking like this. And then the other thing that you have to do is to install the firmware by clicking on File and Install Firmware. But then you would say, which firmware I need to install and where can I find it? So it's pretty simple. I already have installed here. I have the 4.92, but then you just have to go to this website that I will be showing you right now, and then you have to download the file directly from internet. So once you clicked on the link in the description that will be redirecting you here, just scroll down until you see reinstall using a computer and then download PS3 update, because the firmware actually it's the file of the update. And little suggestion, in this case I would definitely recommend you to use Safari as the browser to download this kind of file, because Chrome sometimes is a bit sketchy and a bit weird regarding this type of files. So definitely use Safari because it's faster, easier, and definitely better for the sake of this step. Once it's done, you will see this kind of file. It's called PS3 updat.pub, and then you go back on the emulator and then you install this firmware. So once you are on the emulator again, just click on File, just click on Install Firmware. It's gonna be opening Finder. Go in Download, because automatically when you download something from Safari, normally goes into Downloads folder, and then click on Open and it will start to install the firmware. It starts the compiling. Then when it's done, the actual installation of the firmware will be completed. And then when you have installed the firmware, you just need to add new games, and of course I cannot tell you where to find them, but if you join my Discord, maybe you can find some information about where and how to find them. Or you can simply dump your physical copies of the PS3 games, so you are definitely authorized to use them inside this emulator. And regarding the organization of the games, I would suggest you to create a folder called PS3 Games, in which you have everything related to the games file. Place the folder wherever you want inside the MacBook, either inside the bigger folder in which you have everything related to the emulator, or inside the desktop. It's up to you guys. So guys, once you have created a dedicated PS3 Games folder, you have the zip file of the games. Either you dumped it or if you found it in another way. But then to be able to be read by the emulator itself, you have to double click it to extract it, and expansion will start. So just wait for it to be completed. And then once you have extracted everything, you will be having this folder. In this moment, you reopen the emulator and then you simply drag and drop this folder inside the emulator. It's super easy. There you go. As simple as easy. And as you can see, double click and then the game it's working. Double click again to go full screen. It's gonna be compiling the pipeline, compiling other technical aspects of the game, but then the game will start and you will be able to play it. This kind of process happens with all the games that you are adding to the emulator. So it's not weird, it's necessary. So just take your time and give the emulator some time to actually perform this, building this technical aspects before playing. And as you can see, the game starts. So in this case, I will be showing you that I have unlocked the FPSs because normally it's stuck at 30. But now I have unlocked it until 60. It's using Vulkan and it's working perfectly fine. Bear in mind that some games are not that well optimized, but keep an eye on the list on the official website of the emulator for the downloads and the updates about the compatibility state and the compatibility optimization. It's just a matter of time, guys, for some games. And then now to stop the emulation, wherever you want, you click on emulation, pause, then stop, and it brings you back to the main menu of the emulator. But then we need now to set the controller up. So guys, just open your Bluetooth settings, and as you can see, guys, I have my controller of the Xbox. In this case is an Xbox Series X controller that doesn't have the battery pack in the back. So I just had to plug in the controller to a power source. In this case it's USB and it's more than enough, but it could even be a classic outlet with the socket and such. But then I turn on this controller by clicking on the Xbox logo, and this guy goes in pairing mode, so looking for another Bluetooth device to connect to. And my computer just found the Xbox wireless controller. Then you click on connect. I'm in the Bluetooth settings of my Macbook, and then as you can see, my controller has been paired and the logo is not blinking anymore. And then if we use the emulator, now the controller is working and we can play the game without any problem. Then you do configuration, devices, pads, and then you connect either your PS3 or Xbox controller to the ports of your MacBook with a cable or via Bluetooth if you have like an external wireless controller with the battery pack, because I'm using Xbox One controller but without the battery pack, so I need to have it plugged in, not necessarily directly to the MacBook, but even to an outside power source, as long as it's having enough energy to be on, because then you can connect it with Bluetooth, as I'm always doing. The other way around to reach the configuration of the pads setting is just to click on pads, and then you will be redirected here. SDL is the Xbox controller. If in case you have this one, you just click on SDL, otherwise you select your controller that you're using. And then you click on refresh, and as you can see on the bottom of the right corner, you can see that I'm moving my sticks and they are being recorded. It has been detected as Xbox Series X controller, so it's even easier that you can see that actually it's super easy to set everything up. And then you click on save, and then you can just simply jump back on the video game and then the controller will be detected again. Super easy, super straightforward. Then another important step is the settings for the quality aspect of the game. So either you click on the right click with the mouse or the mouse pad, and then you click on change custom configuration, and then you will be having this pop-up open. That's pretty much a configuration dedicated only to the specific game, because not all the games are working properly with the same settings. In fact, there is even a wiki in which we have the best settings dedicated to each game, and it's an official RPCS3 wiki, so it's actually the official wiki of the emulator, so you just have to follow it. It's better if you follow it. So when it comes to the settings of a game, it is important that you follow that guide. And the only thing that I'm normally always recommending to do if you want to improve a bit the quality and so on, it's to keep default resolution in 720p, but then upscaling to 150% until full HD. And then the resolution scale threshold, the Z call accuracy, all these kind of settings are normally indicated inside the wiki. So those are the ones that you need to tweak. For example, even bright color buffers, multi-thread RSX. Normally these ones are opt-in or out depending on the specific game. So you just have to check the wiki. I will leave the link in the description so you can actually access to it. But in general, it's just that you need to type, for example, Demon Souls RPCS3 wiki, and then you will find the page, and then you will be able to read everything that is needed. It's super easy, super easy. Then again, when it comes to custom configuration, as you were seeing before, guys, you can tweak specifically for the game. But then if you say, oh, maybe on my computer global configuration are working, okay, let's use them. But simply you go on configuration CPU, and in this case you are editing the global configuration. So in general, my thing is to keep as you are seeing it right now. Normally I would say this is around, exactly, this is around 6448. Bright color buffers, normally it has to be always on. And all the other things, guys, leave them as they are. This is specific mostly for the games according to the wiki, and here leave it on Vulkan, select your graphics device. This is normally better to be set on relaxed, especially if you have early M processors, but it's up to you guys. In general, approximate is the best one, the most balanced one, and all the other things leave as they are. But again, every game has its own specific setting recommendation, so just check the wiki out. And then you click on save, and these will be the global settings. Then you don't click with boot with custom configuration. If you double click, it's gonna be booting with global configuration. As you can see, every time it's preloading and doing the same things, but no worries, it's normal. So guys, that was it for the tutorial, and if you have any questions or any doubt, feel free to write a comment in the comment section below, and I will be more than happy to reply and to help you guys with anything about it. Remember to check out all the links that you will be finding in the description of the video. From Tono was everything. I hope you enjoyed it. See you!